guys, Matthew here, joined by Liv for another Doctor Who Series 12 review, and today we are reviewing episode 7, Can You Hear Me? Which, is an episode which I was very, very excited for. It had lots of potential, I thought, with a creepy looking villain delving into people's nightmares, and yeah, it just had all the ingredients to be a classic, scary, creepy Doctor Who episode that I was very, very, very much looking forward to. But I feel like we are the only people on this planet right now, by Twitter and by other means, who just didn't get it. I don't know what it was. There are a few others that agree with us. A couple of our friends within the fandom agree, but this episode didn't grip me at all. It's the first time I've been on my phone throughout an episode this series, and I wasn't even watching for the last 10 minutes because I was just bored, and I wasn't hooked on this story or interested at all. I'm really, really disappointed in myself for that and in the episode because I was so looking forward to it. But yeah, I didn't dig this episode at all. What did you think?
Crap.
Right.
So I would absolutely love to say something strong, but I'm not allowed to. It was absolutely goddamn awful. Awful. Awful.
So you weren't a fan?
I actually liked Orphan 55 more than this.
I did as well.
And that's bloody saying something. Was that episode I gave it 2?
Yeah, well, we'll talk about ratings when we get to the end of this review. But, yeah, I don't know what...
I was lost from when Creepy Finger Guy appeared to putting his creepy fingers in people's ears. And then they were going around like, what was that? I just did not get it, and I have to say, for the first time this series, that Jodie has got on my absolute wick. Wick. She's gone back to an annoying talking woman again. And that bloody stupid Sonic! I would love nothing more to throw that goddamn sonic screwdriver at her. Because she's using it too much! Stop using it! Yeah. Oh, it was awful!
I think the worst episodes are the ones that you just do not connect with. You know, I think with a TV show, I think as long as it makes you feel something towards it, whether that's positive or negative, I feel like the ultimate goal for anything in television or entertainment or whatever is to make you feel a connection to it, make you be interested in it. Whether you don't like it or not, as long as you can follow it and you're interested, that's the fundamentals sort of ticked off. And this episode didn't even do that. I think the worst sort of episodes are the ones where you just don't feel a thing towards them, because you get bored, you have no interest, and even when the episode's trying to send a message or trying to get some emotion from you or something, you just don't feel it and you don't resonate at all. I think the worst type of feeling coming out of an episode is indifference. And that's exactly what I feel from this episode. I've just come away from it feeling nothing towards it. It just bored me. I was on my phone. I couldn't have really cared less. And I don't know if it's because I maybe bigged it up in my own head, because these are the sort of episodes that I really like, when Doctor Who gets experimental with thoughts and dreams and stuff. I think it's fantastic. And it's one of the only few things that Doctor Who can pull off. And I just thought that this had the potential to be creepy and scary, and it just wasn't. It just, like a few episodes this series, it tailed off into the second half to something completely different. Something I had no interest in whatsoever. I just didn't buy it at all.
Because on Twitter there's these people saying, but
It's so divided.
They're saying things like, well, that episode carried out such an important message, but the mental health aspect. So I had no idea that right up until the end that they were edging towards that. Like for me, like in this country, everybody knows that that mental health. So it's such a big talking point.
Oh, absolutely.
But that episode, to me, so it's not about mental health.
It sort of touched upon it at the end, and that's when my interest came
Just
back in a bit. At the end, with the companions, which was lovely. Some of the scenes at the end were fantastic, but it's just the content of the episode, the fundamental plot, the story, just had nothing to it. I'll quote what I said on Twitter, and a lot of people like this quote. A blindfolded, stuck in a basement Stevie Wonder had more direction than this. I was halfway through the episode, and I was just like, what am I watching? Where's it going? What's this about? There was no substance to it. Nothing for me to grab onto, and
no substance.
There was nothing.
No substance whatsoever. It was absolute.
There was nothing for me to grab onto and say, this is what I'm interested in. None of the characters, the villain, nothing. I say that up until before they went on the ship, I was all right. But after that is where it completely lost me, and I just thought, this episode's not what I want it to be. It's not what I expected it to be. And from that moment on, I wasn't even in it.
But what gets me again is the villain aspect. A lot of episodes this series, I hate to say it, that villain-wise are exactly the same as Series 11. Has Chris Chibnall learnt nothing about Series 11?
I saw a tweet.
I'm absolutely sick of humans being used as a villain. I'm bored of it.
I am.
I'm absolutely bored, beepless at it. How many times has this been used? Orphan 55.
Last week.
Was Nikola Tesla's used by humans slightly?
I don't think it was that bad. No, it had the creatures on the ship and everything like that, didn't it? So that's all right.
Yeah, but also from the point that they were still underused villains.
Well, yeah.
From my other point, but they weren't quite humans. And then last week's episode and this week's, how many times are we going to get you episodes with villains that are like humans? I'm bored.
Yeah.
Do something different.
I agree. I mean, it is starting to bore me a little bit that we've had, and again, I feel like it's getting increasingly hard to stay away from the whole Doctor Who political stuff now, because I try my absolute hardest to stay away from it, because it is just a cauldron of just toxicity, which people use to just, it just causes arguments, and I don't want to really get into it, but I have to say, Orphan 55, we had global warming. Last week, we had plastics. This week, we had, your own thoughts, and they're all good messages, yes, they're all rightful messages, and that's what annoys me. But it feels like Doctor Who is losing its identity a little bit, because it's just... I just want a story that is just Doctor Who. It's just Doctor Who. That just don't touch upon issues as much. It's okay doing it every now and then. Doctor Who's always been political. Yes, that's correct. It has. There's nothing wrong with it. But I just feel like that's the third episode in the series now where the plot is being used to highlight...
Side-casted for me.
Yeah, where
the
humans
plots in
have
the
been
stories
the villain.
Are side-casted.
And
for these issues, like with these issues, there's nothing against them.
Nothing at all.
They are correct issues, but the problem is this is supposed to be a goddamn science fiction show.
I think it's doing more harm to the sci-fi and the storylines than it is good at this point.
I'm absolutely waiting for another episode, like the first two-parter, and you end episode 5 what was the Judoon one? Something proper science fiction again. An adventure. A classic adventure.
Yeah.
like when the TARDIS team go off, meet an alien, and crap goes down. But I'm just sick of these main issues. And like last week in the review, so I said that last week was better than Orphan 55 on how they did it.
Yeah.
But the problem is, why you have 2 episodes in a series that because they're in hindsight are exactly the same. And in this week we have another one, 3 episodes in a series that are exactly the same. Like, come on, Chris Chibnall, come on.
It's all right doing these episodes when there's something else. There's enough Doctor Who sci-fi content to actually keep you going, and that's the problem with Orphan 55. It was good until, in the end, it just felt so forced and out of place. Last week, they weaved it into the story quite well, to a point where at the end you accepted it because it was a part of the story and it worked. This week, it wasn't that it didn't work, it didn't fit. It did, but there was just nothing. There was nothing about the story that interested me at all. So instead of being at the end when I should have been hooked and behind the message and being like, yes, at the end I just didn't care.
But
Because I wasn't in the story from 20 minutes in. After that, it lost me. And that's nothing to do with the message. That's nothing to do with the political side of it. Nothing to do with that at all. It is the sci-fi Doctor Who fundamental side of it that was just boring. That's the point I'm trying to make. Before people say you hate this episode because of the PC stuff, it's nothing to do with that. That was fine. The problem is, I didn't care enough for it because the episode itself, the actual, the bread and butter of what the episode should be, the Doctor Who sci-fi stuff, didn't interest me at all, and that's why it lost me.
Because, like I said at the beginning, the mental health aspect to it. So I didn't get right up until the end.
And that was the only part of it I really liked.
Yeah.
Because it's a part of life that resonates with everybody. We've all been there. We all know people have been there. So let's just get into the meat and the bones of this episode. And believe me, there's not much to it. There's not much meat and bones, to be fair. So there's a guy who's taking people's, who's fueling this other god who is trapped between planets. Creepy Finger Man. Who is basically fueling this other god who's trapped between 2 planets. By using people's nightmares to fuel her, and the whole thing about it affecting companions is so he could get the Doctor, trap her, and get her to free this other god. That's it. Now, the first, like I said, 10-15 minutes, I was very, very intrigued because I've been looking forward to this episode so much, and I personally loved seeing the 3 companions leave and do something different to the Doctor, because it seems like them 4 glued to each other all the time, and it was good to see them go off into their own life, seeing Ryan meet one of his friends who was very anxious, and I was like, why is he anxious? Then Yaz meeting her sister, obviously problems there.
It just didn't
last
long enough.
Yes, that's my only gripe. They all came back together. None of it
lasted it long enough. Like, so I liked seeing Jodie on her own.
I was enjoying seeing her on her own, especially when she was finding it hard to adjust, kind
of thing. I enjoyed that, but the problem is, it happened for about 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden, they're back together again. Happy family again.
Yeah, I agree, and I find the series quite a lot. There's been a lot of people travelling with the Doctor at once. I mean, we have had 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 people every single episode, and there's not enough. There's not enough script, there's not enough for them all to do, and it makes it easy for these characters to just fall by the wayside and just be there for the sake of it. And we've had some great side casts this series, don't get me wrong, but I just feel
I ask, that girl with the head thingy, my bob, and that part of the episode, because this again lost me completely. Where did that fit into the story?
Because
I was lost.
She faced her fear by creating them creatures, or they were her fear, and she faced them. And because she faced her fear, and the whole point of the gods was for them feeding off people's fears, because she faced her fears, they used that to defeat them.
Right.
Yeah. 2 gods, almighty gods, were defeated by that.
Because what I was taking from it, that place she was in was a hospital of some kind,
That was just the setting of where people were killed. That was it.
or somewhere she worked, and then she also got sent there for doing something wrong. Or
I think why she's there is irrelevant. That's absolutely irrelevant.
right.
The point is, she had these creatures that she created. She basically conquered the fear of them, and that's what defeated the creatures.
Right.
She was basically there to be a plot point for the end.
So useless then, basically.
Not useless, but just there for the end.
Right. Okay.
But I thought the first 10 to 15 minutes was good. What do you think of the companions overall in this episode, as an overall? Because I think they were one of the pluses for me, because I enjoyed the first section of the episode with them all. It fleshed them out a little bit. It was good to see them at home. I thought the scenes with Graham, with Grace as well, were especially touching, especially at the end as well, when it sort of touched on all of their actual thoughts, giving them actual development, which we'll touch upon more at the end. But as the companions as a whole, I thought they were probably the biggest plus of the episode.
Yeah, they were good. What I liked is that now all of a sudden, so we're starting to see them so edge away for the Doctor somehow.
A little bit, yeah.
And the whole aspect of it from the own life. So Graham's still enjoying it, I think, and Yaz in a way, but but Ryan's completely gone.
Yeah, in fact, we'll
completely gone.
We'll touch upon that now. I was really that was the part of the episode at the very end where I sort of came back with them three at the end. I thought the touching upon Yaz's mental health issues which she's had. I mean that came out the blue. I wish we'd have known that about her earlier. I thought that was really interesting to see.
Like all of this development from Yaz should have happened in series 11.
Yeah, I
more about her because the end of the episode and the mental health thing was really good, but so I would have loved all her companions to have some sort of background, like so also like previous companions have had. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and we're getting that with these now. I mean, I thought that was really interesting to see how she struggled. Graham's starting to worry about, obviously, what's happened to her. I think the whole thing, the good thing about this episode is it brought them all back down to earth, pardon the pun, and it reminded them of their actual lives. Especially Ryan. I was surprised by that.
The one thing I was really confused at, was Graham and the Doctor's conversation at the end.
I was really disappointed in the Doctor's reaction.
Like, there was Graham spilling his heart out to her, saying about his dream and what happened to it, and then all of a sudden the Doctor was like, and what am I supposed to say? So I was like, what? I
was really disappointed by that ending. I just thought, I mean, I know the Doctor's socially awkward, but my God, this is a Time Lord who's been around for thousands of years. Give the guy a bit of sympathy. Just that could have been a moment between them two, which could have been really heartfelt and it could have been like defining for their relationship. I mean, you're right, Graham was pouring his heart out to her about something that's really, really serious, and that was one of the few parts of the episode which tugged at my heartstrings a little bit. I was like, oh wow, they're touching upon this. And the Doctor just sort of brushed it off as if she didn't want to talk about it, and I just thought that was a real opportunity for them to have a little bit of just, didn't have to be much, but just a few words where the Doctor could have just said, listen, I've seen a lot of things, I've died so many times, I've witnessed so many great people who I've loved,
exactly.
I've lost, you'll be fine, or just something. And she just brushed off, and I just sort of looked at it and I thought, well, that's a bit heartless for the Doctor, really.
And
poor Graham.
And when I jump back to the beginning, what I was saying, that Hospital Geordie for this episode did absolutely nothing for me. Nothing.
Yeah, there was nothing to
nothing.
Normally
rambling on again and again. And then the Sonic out 5,001 bloody times. And then that was that.
Yeah, she didn't particularly irritate me. Again, like the episode, she sort of followed the theme of the episode. There was nothing I particularly disliked about performance, but at the same time, there was nothing I really liked either. Like the episode, she didn't lay a single glove on me as a viewer. I wasn't bothered. I wasn't interested. I just didn't care. The only part of her Doctor which annoyed me this week was the Sonic, which was out every single second again.
Oh, I'd love to slap her with that Sonic. She's driving me absolutely mad.
I know. I agree.
Absolutely mad.
I feel
every second it's out.
Yeah.
Every episode I've noticed this in. Every single episode that the bloody Sonic is getting used all the time. Oh.
I agree. I thought that, as well as this episode having potential, I thought this really had the potential for the Doctor, because she was facing a being which was meant to just be from another realm, this god, so powerful, and with how menacing he was and what he was saying, I just thought it would have just upset the Doctor a bit. Maybe, just grinded her gears a bit. She might have stood up to him a bit more. I just expected that a little... Just with who she was facing and what was happening to her companions, especially at the end, I just expected more fire from the Doctor, a bit more of an edge.
And there was nothing like that.
No, I mean, it's like they were trying to raise the stakes in this episode and be like, this is a big deal, what's happening. But it didn't feel like what was happening meant anything. That's my point with this episode. I didn't feel any danger or threat or anything. And I just think that if the Doctor had showed a bit of emotion towards the villain, either if that was her being scared of him, or angry at him, or she snapped at him, or she stood up to him, showed a bit of fire towards them, or what was going on, that might have made me think, hang on, the Doctor's clearly sees this as this danger, this, what's going on is really serious. I need to see this as serious as well.
Yeah.
But she was just sort of joking about and pulling funny faces and, this is happening, but it's not really that serious, I'm not really in danger. I mean, how are we as viewers meant to resonate with that when the Doctor doesn't even really seem challenged either?
Exactly.
If she's not challenged by what's going on,
exactly,
we're not going to look at the episode or the villain and think, oh, wow, this is dangerous.
Exactly.
She was just very, very below par, very just average, mediocre, nothing stood out. Whereas in the last couple of episodes, she has stood out very much so.
Yeah.
But this week, neither here or there with me, really. Which is disappointing.
It is.
And again, there was potential and there were scenes where they could have really utilised the Doctor and shown another side of her at times.
But they're just not.
They just didn't.
They're not.
And that's the same as we've said with the story, and we'll go on to Mr. Fingerman. He looked incredibly creepy. Casting-wise, he had the look, he had the characteristics, everything about him was perfect. He had the potential to be such a creepy villain. And I was very disappointed in his character in the end.
I just didn't understand him.
Very disappointed.
I didn't understand him.
I thought he was going to be some sort of Dreamlord type of character, but he just... There was nothing to him.
I was thinking that at the beginning.
Apart from him being...
I just didn't understand him one bit. And... Yeah, and it was exactly the same with that woman.
I don't even know who she was.
No, I don't.
She just appeared. I mean,
just appeared in Graham's sauce, and then all of a sudden she's there in the episode. Like, what the hell?
There was no depth to these villains whatsoever. I mean, like
again,
I said, it started off and he had such, appearing in people's dreams. His fingers coming off, and that was creepy as hell. And I was like, oh my god, that's a little bit much. And I thought, this is really, really creepy. Who is this man? How powerful is he? What? And even when they were saying he was from a different universe, I was like, all right. But then he just suddenly played second fiddle to this woman who appeared, who we're now also meant to accept as some sort of god. And all she did was look a little bit grumpy and stand around, not really doing anything.
It's just...
there was no depth to them whatsoever. And again, nothing at all to grip me. As soon as they went on that ship and it turned out to be these two gods and these two planets and they just want the nightmares of the humans, I was just like... I was gone. I was lost.
No. When I switched off, it been ages to go in the episode.
I switched off.
I did not get it.
So, yeah. And then the ending. How do you kill them? These two almighty, powerful gods were just defeated by this woman conquering her fears.
Wow.
The Doctor just turns up with everybody. They walk on like some sort of Avengers scene at the end, and suddenly they're defeated in a matter of minutes. The conclusion felt very, very done.
But again, the conclusion to a lot of episodes have been kind of the same. And the villain aspect is starting to get a bit repetitive and exactly the same.
I don't know what the hell's happened to your voice.
No, I don't.
But apart from, I mean, you think about the villains, apart from the Master,
We've had no sort of villain.
No real villain. This series that's
exactly the same as Series 11. And at the end of Series 11, so I said, I was so disappointed. So in lack of good villains. And again, this series, it's happening again. Like, Chris, learn something, please. Learn something.
Yeah. The worrying thought that crossed my mind at the end of this episode, and this worried me when I thought about this. At the end of this episode, I thought, I just want it to be the finale.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for saying that because, apart from Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror, you know, Fugitive of the Judoon is an exception because that was very story arc driven. The episodes that have been sort of standalone, apart from Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror, have just felt so very ordinary. And I feel like without
Series 11.
without being carried by this story arc, there's not much to them. You know, Orphan 55 struggled. Episode 6, Praxeus struggled. This one struggled. And I feel like this series, for me anyway, I'm relying on the story arc very much. My interest is very much in the story arc, and I couldn't care less about anything else. And that's why I'm looking at next week's episode and being like, episode 8, I'm not bothered. I want the finale.
So I was kind of worried when I seen the next time trailer at the end of the episode, and then all of a sudden I thought, please let it be the finale.
That was my big worry. That was my first thought.
Finale.
I thought, I don't have any interest in next week. My interest is solely on the Cybermen two-part finale now. I don't care for anything else.
But again, the episode has just left me feeling disappointed. Like, I hate feeling this way towards an episode, but the problem is, I can't lie. You even say that was good. It was bloody crap.
Yeah.
Crap.
Maybe we just didn't connect to the story like others did. That happens. There's people who didn't like Fugitive of the Judoon. There's people who didn't like Spyfall. But that's just the way it is. We spoke about the actual ending with all of them. I personally thought that was really interesting. I think it's starting to touch upon the departures now.
Yeah.
Ryan's getting a bit tired.
Yeah.
We've learnt about Yaz and her mental health. Maybe that'll play a part. I'm hoping Graham's illness doesn't come back. I'm just worried that this could be foreshadowing bad things to come for the three of them. But they were the only plus for me in this episode.
Yeah.
With how they fleshed up on their characters. So there's
Ratings?
nothing else to this episode.
Ratings?
Yeah.
Let's rate it.
Well, I'm going to conclude and say that this episode didn't grip me whatsoever. Apart from the companions and what happened at the end, and their sort of little character bits, nothing interested me at all. After the first 15 minutes, this episode lost me, it bored me, it didn't interest me whatsoever. I was on my phone, I wasn't bothered. It picked up a bit towards the end, but even then I thought the direction in which the episode tailed off to was just different, and I didn't really like it compared to what I thought it would be. And that episode, like I said, had potential, which I didn't think was fulfilled with the Doctor. I didn't think it was fulfilled with the villain. I think they've missed a trick with this one. And yeah, it just, like I said, the worst feeling for me personally coming out of an episode is indifference. I didn't really like it. I didn't really dislike it that much. I just sort of thought, what was that? I wasn't bothered. I didn't care. And that's the worst sort of feeling for me. So I'm going to give it a 3. It's just an episode that I cannot see myself under any circumstance going back to rewatch.
Oh, I never will. I never will.
I don't have a reason to.
I never will.
It's like one of them that you can just skip over because it's not laid a glove on me at all. Just bored me.
The haters are really good at hate. I'm giving it a 1.
A 1?
Because there was nothing I liked. I'm only giving it a 1.
Wow.
Because because the companion side of it. But apart from that, there was nothing I liked, so I get to war.
Wow.
Like I said at the start, Orphan 55 I like better than that, and I rated that a 2.
I guess you've got to be... Consistency is key. Wow.
I really had to let the haters hate.
Well, people are obviously going to jump on, and I'm really... I mean, I'm not, because every episode of Doctor Who's different, but, I mean, it is very Marmite, I found this one, but I think we are in the minority.
Yeah.
There is a part of me that is really sort of disappointed in myself, because I'm sort of looking at on Twitter, and I'm looking at people's opinions, and obviously we want to enjoy every episode.
Yeah.
We don't want to go into every episode of Doctor Who and pick faults. And we don't,
Rated a 1.
no, we don't want to do that. We want to enjoy every episode. And I sort of feel like the kid left out at school or in PE when everyone else has enjoyed something and I haven't, and I'm sat here thinking why. So I'm sort of feeling just as disappointed that I feel like we've missed something with this. Maybe if we rewatch it, I don't know. Have we missed a trick? I just don't know. It's such a difficult episode to review, but my only real conclusion is I just felt nothing.
No, nothing.
And that's the worst.
Nothing.
So that's our review of Can You Hear Me? Like this video if you've enjoyed this review. Do subscribe to this channel for weekly Series 12 reviews. Comment below your thoughts. It's going to be interesting to see what you guys think. I'll stick a poll to see what you guys think. It's going to be simply, did you like it or not? Because it seems like there is no grey area with this one. You can follow us across all the social medias, and you can also donate to us on Patreon, where you can get some awesome rewards, such as links to our exclusive Discord server, exclusive early access to content, among some really, really awesome rewards. So check out our Patreon if you haven't already. But until next time, guys, thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.